Well, hello there, guys. I've been working on some stuff. Um, I have voices in my head. I've been working on something. Back in the day of the 74, we had a, a guy going around called Bit. He was extremely well talented, and he made himself a module or a set of modules through which we could spawn ships, capital ships. Now, ever since the 74th died out or went away, Legion Studios has retained the code for it, but they have never gotten around to properly introducing the capital ships. Now, I know that they want to have a very specific way of setting up these capital ships, and I really want them to produce those capital ships in that way. But up until this point, I have not seen anything like it. You have, for example, the Doom Battalion assets or their system of deploying a capital ship and stuff, but I don't want to load the entire Doom Battalion mod pack in order to just play with the capital ships. And I also don't think that they are the same way as how they used to be back in the days of the 74th. So I've tried my own hand at making a module and making this functionality into the game. Um, so I have a module. Mind you, all of this is still very much so in work in progress. But I got a module here, cloned for 74 Zeus modules, where I can spawn a ship. I have set up the module in such a way, or the script in such a way, where if the ship is being spawned in, it spawns currently at 10 kilometers distance away. So it quickly moves in and then gradually slows down all the way to a stop. And then from when it is stopped, you can give it a waypoint. It will rotate or turn towards the waypoint and then fly straight towards the waypoint. Now there are some things in there still that are not fully working because technically you can chain waypoints, but it will fly directly to the last given waypoint. Even if you have multiple waypoints chained in one line, it will fly straight to the last waypoint given. So it currently is only a acclimator, and I can spawn it at 500 meters, 1 kilometer, 2.5 kilometers, 5 kilometers, and 10 kilometers. For this showcase, I will leave it at 500 meters. I can say the factions, civilian, blue 4, op 4, or green 4. In this case, we're going to choose blue 4. So it spawns in and it quickly approaches. You see it bobbing up and down and stuff. That is because it looks at the terrain height and not at sea level for keeping its distance to the ground. So if your ground elevation goes up because you are on top of a hill, this ship will automatically accommodate for that height difference. So it moved in. This model is pretty old. It is also hollow, but we have repurposed it for a different project. So don't mind it being hollow. But yeah, this is the ship. In here I got 5 objects. I got 4 turrets. The Venator turret smalls from Trias, and there's a Gozanti dock in here. Gozanti dock mostly should be invisible, but sometimes it will appear and stuff, etc. So the ship has its engines turned off, and I can select the Gozanti dock, and I can give this a waypoint. You will see it rotate or turn towards that direction, and then quickly speed off into that direction. Now, the speeds and the rotation or turn rates and stuff, I still have to make sure that they are smooth and in the way that I want them to be in. Maybe this will become faster or slower depending on what I want. You can see it's slowly moving around. It is stuttering a little bit, but that is just the way how I've used the script because it checks every 0.2 seconds with its position so it stays at this height so it doesn't fall down, because you can imagine that the Gozanti dock, it's an aircraft, a plane. This will constantly want to drop down to the ground, so that is something you need to understand. It adds scripting in the background that is constantly running with keeping the ship at its altitude. So yeah, this could be a bit impact heavy on, or FPS heavy on um, your mission file and on your server. Now I haven't tried anything out yet on the server. This is just in single player, me trying out in single player, and so far it works pretty well. But then again, I have not done any major testing yet. So, as you saw, I could give it a waypoint and it rotates in that direction. I promise you, it can rotate both ways. And right now I'm giving it multiple waypoints. The last waypoint, even though you can see it has a bunch of movement waypoints, it skips the first one in line and moves directly to the last waypoint, just as I said. So, then the next thing that is currently already working, it has to happen in a certain sequence. You first have to kill the turrets, and then you have to kill the core of the ship. I want it to work in that specific way. So you can't just take out the core and the entire ship goes down. No, you will have to take out its turrets, and then you take out the core and the ship will destroy itself. So I will destroy the turrets. You see, nothing happens yet, but as soon as I destroy the core, explosions happen. The positions of these explosions have to be changed, how many explosions etc. happen have to be changed and stuff. But you can see, ship goes down and it is then deleted. This is the easier way of doing it. I do want to look into making it so the ship actually lands on the water or lands on the ground. Maybe levels itself out like I've done with my composition. And then spawns a crater and stuff, but that is a nice to have and not generally exactly needed for this mod as it is right now. So that is how you spawn the ship and then destroy the ship. And that is basically basic functionality that the modules, the mod had back in the day of the 74th. Now, I also want to go and add in a second module where I can select the ship that I want to have, and I want to give that the command to jump out of the system. So then that ship will be selected by the module or whatever, how I do it, and the ship jumps out and then is also deleted at 10 kilometers distance or so. So for the players on the ground, it is well outside of their view distance. Of course, for your pilots, etc., they will most likely see the ship spawn in, quickly move towards the initial given position with the module, and they will also probably see the ship being deleted when flying around. I also want to add in a third module where you can spawn in fighters from the ships, but that is also a nice to have and not something that is necessary for the mod to work. And so far, it's only the Acclimator that works this way. I have yet to set up any other ship, be it or have it be the CAS ships, a Star Destroyer, or a Venator, for example. I do want to add multiple ships. For example, I do want to add the Acclimator, or I already have the Acclimator, but I want the Legion Studios Acclimator. I want the Venator from Legion Studios. Maybe I will also add the 3AS Venator in there, because that ship model is, in my opinion, nicer, even though it has less space inside. So that is just for compositions, but for this it is not really important that it is smaller inside. I want the Imperial Star Destroyer. I believe that 3AS also has an Imperial Star Destroyer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not entirely certain. Then I want the Providence class. I want that to become from Legion Studios. I want that to be in this module. I want maybe the Subjugator. I want the what are they called? The Lucre Hulk, most likely. The Lucre Hulk will be pretty heavy though, because that will have a lot of turrets. Then I want the man. What are they called again? Let me look them up. Capital ships. Yes, I can't see them. The destroyer. This is the Star Destroyer. You know what I'm talking about. The destroyer from the CIS. And the Magnificent. I also want the Magnificent in. Just like how I have had it set up with my compositions, I want to produce them in this mod as well, so you can actively fight them and spawn them in and such. So yeah, that is what I'm working on. That is what is coming soon, hopefully. This is something I've been trying to make for quite a while now, because I have seen the requests over and over again about how people want to see Republic ships appear in the compositions. Um, it was also in Dutch, mind you, spawn and annuleer and etc. So that will have to be changed, but that makes it a bit easier for me to understand, of course. I'm also going to change up how certain how the core works, etc. Um, I don't want to continue. I don't want to continue to use the Kazanti dock as a core ship, but maybe make my own vehicle with my own sounds. Um, so you actually have a feeling that there's a ship above you and it's not just silence. Um, and probably I will make my own turret so I'm not locked or stuck with 3S cannons in the case that 3S changes anything on their side, because then this will break, right? So I will probably choose my own turrets. Um, but yeah, that is what I've been working on. Um, and I really want to finish this up and release it to the workshop soon. Don't ask me to pin a date on this because I don't know exactly. It requires testing from my side. I have not done any of that testing in multiplayer as of yet, so I do not know how heavy this is on the frame rate or not. I don't even know if it is functional in multiplayer, because the code and locality are locality is a thing in Arma, and no, having done plenty of coding before, I know that things handle differently on the server. So yeah, that is that. Um, anyhow, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and follow my Discord channel. Keep an eye on it for when this actually arrives.